everybody, and welcome back. Mr. Smith here, about to go through our next electronics lab. Remember, we're working on building different circuits and then programming them in the Arduino IDE in C++, so that way we get a better understanding of electrical engineering and how we can actually add electronics to our different projects. All right, today we're going to be working on Lab 5, which is digital inputs. So basically we're taking digital information from a different type of input, obviously, but today we're going to be using these tiny little push buttons, all right, and you're going to see a more zoomed up version of them in a minute. But basically, as we push one button, it'll cause our LED to go on, and then we push the other button, the LED will go off. So this is kind of your introduction to how buttons work with electronics. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Go ahead and gather up your materials. You're going to need your Arduino board. You're going to need a breadboard. You're going to need another one of those 220 ohm resistors that we used on the last lab. And you're going to need a red, blue, and yellow jumper wire and 2 black jumper wires. And of course, like I said, the push button, you're going to need those. They're in the LED box. All right, so while y'all are gathering that, you can kind of just listen to me talk about the schematic. So the schematic's pretty simple, guys. We are just going to put our LED in, and then we're going to run the ground, and then we'll put our resistor in, and then we'll run, we're going to run a positive into pin 5, all right, and that's going to be our LED pin. All right, so the LED pin that runs our positive connection to our LED is 5. All right, that's our digital pin. All right, then we're going to be using pins 8 and 9 to run our 2 buttons, and for this one you're going to pull in the code and just kind of work off the code. So let's go ahead and get started building our circuit. All right, so the very first thing, remember I told you we're going to put our LED in. So grab your red LED like so. And I want you to remember, I always put my positive towards the top typically, but I think I'm actually going to run it this way because the pin 5 is down here. So I'm going to put my positive side towards this end this time. Alright, so I'm going to place my LED. Let's take a look at the schematic again. So that it all fits, let's place that LED a little bit higher. So we're going to place it kind of in that second channel. If you're looking at your board, mine's in the B channel because mine's kind of flipped backwards. All right. Then we are going to run our ground. So from our negative side into the negative channel, and then from the negative channel into the ground. All right. So again, this side of the board is my negative, so I want my black wire, and I'm going to run from negative all the way over into that negative, and then I'm going to run negative to the ground. Alright, just like so. Alright, pause it if you need to see that. Alright, so now that we've got that done, we are going to go ahead and run our resistor. So our resistor is on the top on our positive, and it's going to connect our positive to our positive. So 220 resistor. Remember, you have the bag of resistors. You're looking for the one that says 220. I still had mine out from the last time. All right, so you just need to keep track of where, one side of your resistor needs to be in the positive foot of your LED, positive toe, and then keep track where the other one is because that's where we're going to run our wire. All right, so if you look at the schematic, there is a red wire that runs from that other part of your resistor all the way to the 5 pin. So we're going to go from here, got to make sure it's lined up, all the way to the 5 pin like so. Alright, so we have completed our circuit, so it comes on. Alright, I have an old program loaded on mine. Alright, and the old program that I have loaded is going through the last lab was the LED lab. or the RGB lab, so it's cycling through that. All right, so now we're going to add our buttons, so that way we can turn this on and off. So look at our schematic. All right, we need to put the buttons across kind of that open channel. All right, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to start it 1 pin over from where our red wire is. So I'm going to come in here and just 1 pin over, or not pin, but 1 hole over. All right, you might have to kind of bend these to get them in there good. All right, just be careful not to bend so much that you break them. Well, I might have to pull this off camera so I can get it in real quick, but then I'll show it, guys. So it looks like these are not going to reach across. See if I have a bigger button in there. These were just the first button I saw. No, there's not bigger buttons that I can see. Alright, let me try to get it to reach across that channel. Alright, if you really stretch them, you can get them to go across. You're going to have to spread your pins out, but they will make it across that gap. So just, you don't want to break your pins, but... Alright, so back on camera. See, I got it in. I just kind of had to really stretch it. Alright, you just want to keep track of where those pins are. As long as they're in line, they should be fine. Alright, so I got my first button in. Now I need to, looks like I'm going to skip a hole and put my second button in. So again, guys, kind of stretch out those bottoms. And you just want to make sure that all 4 make it in. Alright, and mine are in. Got my 2 buttons. So now we want to run our blue and yellow cord. So we're going to refer back to our schematic here. So from the... Alright, so we just need to make sure that 1 goes to a +9, +8, and then 2 grounds. Alright, so I'm going to start... Oh, what color was blue? Blue is 9, yellow is 8. So go from here. So right in front of that button, over into 9. Alright, and then from on the other button, right in front of the same one, over into 8, like so. Alright, I'm going to refocus my camera, that way y'all can definitely see it. Alright, now we need to add our negatives. So you're going to need 2 more black wires. I actually forgot to tell you that at the beginning. So go ahead and pull out 2 more black wires. Looking for 2 more kind of smaller black wires. I don't want to get so much wire in there it's hard to tell what's going on. Okay, I've got 1. There's another one. Alright, so now I'm going to run those from the negative side. Alright, check our schematic. It's always important to check. Going from the negative down to the negative channel. All the way down there. And from... Just got to make sure they're lined up, guys. Because I just realized I didn't line mine up perfectly. Alright, so just like that. So at this point, our circuit should be good unless I've messed up. So let's go ahead and take a look at the software. So if you go on It's Learning, and you look in the labs folder, you will find a text document. It's pretty simple, guys. Remember, we put the LED pin in 5. The button A is in 9. Button A, I believe, is our one that we want to turn on. Button B is our turn off button. It's an 8. All right. So for setup, we set up those 3 buttons, or those 3 inputs and outputs. Remember, our buttons are inputs. Input pull up is how we specify that. So when button A is off or low or down, turn it on. And when it is low, turn it off. All right. So let's go ahead and hit our check mark. All right. And then I'm going to upload. All right. So I've just uploaded to my board. Let's hope this works. So when I hit my right button, see it? When I hit that right button, it comes on. Hit the left button, it goes off. So button A is on. Button B is off. Again, I'll turn it sideways so you can kind of see. Button A on. Button B off. If you tap button B, it doesn't do anything. Button A turns it on. Button B turns it off. And again, guys, that's the code. All right. Our code's telling it to do that. So if we go in here, we could actually switch them by doing low, switching the low and high. All right. If I were to upload that and then click, all right, looking back at our board here. So now I've switched it. So this one now is on and that one's off. On, off, on, off. All right, so all we've done is we've created a circuit for an on button and an off button to control an LED light. All right, so I want you to think back to the last lab, the RGB light or RGB LED. We could have a button that while we're holding it down, it cycles through that RGB spectrum, and then when you let go, it stops. Or we could have a button to make it go through the spectrum one way, and then when we let go, it stops, and then hit the other button, and it goes through the spectrum in reverse. All right, so just kind of thinking about, how we can pull all our different labs we've done together. So, all right, guys, that's your introduction to digital inputs. In class, I'll go through it a little bit more in detail, but again, this is just kind of for support. Let me know if you have any questions, and I look forward to the next time. See ya.